Hi guys, my name is Anastasia and today we're gonna create a cute 3D character model. Let's jump into Cinema 4D. We will start with a cube. For zooming in and zooming out, scroll the mouse wheel. For moving around, hold Alt and middle mouse button. For orbiting around the object, hold Alt and left mouse button. Now we are going to insert the reference image. Click the middle mouse button to see all 4 views. Hover over front view, click middle mouse button to select it. Click on Mode, View Settings, and you can select the image. My sketch you can download in the links below. Here you can adjust the transparency and also scale up and scale down the image. I would prefer the bottom of my image to be in the center of our grid. Now we are going to work with a cube. It's gonna be a body of a cat. E for moving the cube up. We can also adjust the size. I would like all sides to be 180. I click the middle mouse button to go to all 4 up views and press C to make the object editable. It will allow me to select the polygons, edges and points of the object separately. Let's switch to polygon mode and press Ctrl A to select all the polygons. Right click, subdivide, check in smooth, and we will put 2 iterations. We need to scale up our body a little bit. I press T for scaling and we can toggle the handles on each side to scale the object in the particular direction. I would like the shape to be a little bit more rounded, so I will also toggle it in the upper top view. The body should be a little bit of an eggy shape. For this, I grab the rectangular selection tool and select the points of the upper part of the body. I go to the attribute editor and enable soft selection. It will allow us to move surrounding parts of the mesh to move along with the selection. I move selected points up, and now I will scale down a little bit on the Z and X axis to have an eggy shape. I'm switching to the model mode. We should place our body into subdivision surface modifier. Subdivision surface allows us to see a smoother preview. Double-click on the subdivision surface to rename it into the body. We can also disable it temporarily. I would like to work only with a half of the body and then mirror the other half. To do that, I grab the rectangular selection, disable the soft selection. I select half of the polygons on my front view and then just delete it. Let's create a leg. Grab a circular selection and select 4 polygons. Grab Fit Circle tool to make our leg more rounded. I'm going to extrude those polygons. First, I prepare the shape of the polygons and press T for scaling to make it the actual circle shape. R for rotation, because we want our polygons to be more equal like on the sketch. Press M and then T to extrude, and drag the polygons down. I'm rotating our polygons fully horizontally and press E to move them down and inwards. I can see that my shape is a little bit larger than I want. I will scale it down by pressing T and try to maintain the circular shape. With pressing E, I can adjust the move and then repeat MT for one more extrude. I'm scaling it if necessary and continuing down. MT for extrude and dragging it down. Press T for scale and then repeat it till I reach the very end. On the bottom of the leg, I'm trying to scale it down, and to have a nice smooth shape, my extrusions need to be quite close to each other. And the last extrude would be a small circle which I'll adjust from the top view as well. I can see the shape is not so smooth, but we will turn our subdivision surface. I can select the point mode and adjust the points how I want. I want to bring the points a little bit closer to the bottom line. Let's build the arm. The process is very similar. I grab the circular selection, switch to polygon mode and select 4 polygons. I take the Fit Circle tool and create a circular shape out of my polygons. I scale it by hitting T and moving it a little bit up by hitting E. Let's rotate it by hitting R to create a shoulder. And now we are going to extrude those polygons. Hit M and then T for extrusion and drag it. Hit T for scaling. I rotate each new extrusion. And I just continue till the very end, till I reach the bottom of the arm on the sketch. Let's preview how our body looks with the turned on subdivision modifier. We can see that the bottom of the arm is not so smooth, it's a little bit squarish. We can select the point mode. First of all, we will move the arm a little bit according to the drawing. I just select the points and rotate them to make it look a little like on the sketch. Now let's fix the bottom of the arm. I select on the bottom the middle point and just pull it down to have a nicer circular shape. Let's see our preview. Now it looks nice and it's time to symmetrize it. Let's mirror the body. We select our original body geometry and press Ctrl A to select all polygons. Right-click, Symmetrize. Now we have a full body. Now we will model a head. We need one more cube. Let's move it up and make it editable by hitting C. Switch to polygon mode, Ctrl A for selecting all polygons, right-click, Subdivide. Now we are going to scale it at the bottom part of the head, and we will make the same process as with the egg-shaped body. Grab the rectangular selection tool, select upper points, enable soft selection, and drag points up. Let's scale it down a little bit along the Z-axis. And then we continue to move it up by hitting E. So now we can disable the soft selection. Go to Model Mode and put our head into Subdivision Surface modifier. Let's double-click and rename it into Head. Let's create a face mask around the cat's face. Let's switch to circular selection and select our original head geometry. We select 4 polygons in the middle and right-click, Split. We are taking it out of the subdivision surface, as one subdivision surface modifier can only work for one piece of geometry. We need to create its own subdivision surface modifier for the face mask. Let's rename it and activate the symmetry mode. We're just gonna try to fit the oval shape. I'm dragging it to the sides, and you can see I just select one point and then it's going to be mirrored on another side. The only problem, our selection is flat. We need to push some of the points backwards. We are selecting everything besides the middle point and pushing it backwards. It's very flat. We need to make it thicker, and we grab a thicken modifier, which we put inside the subdivision surface modifier, and put our face mask cube inside it. Let's add some thickness. Now we take our cube and push it forward to see the volumetric mask. We can see that some edges are not fully aligned with the face. I move them a little bit backwards until I see that the mask nicely comes out. I can also push further the central point to make all the polygons to come out. While I was dragging the points, I made the mask a little bit wider than it's supposed to be. I would like to move inwards the side points and make them closer to the central point. To make the edge of the mask smoother, we select the subdivision surface modifier of our mask and increase the number of subdivisions from 2 to 4. Let's create the nose. For that, we will need one more cube. Let's bring it up and scale it down. We just keep scaling it until it fits the size on the sketch. Hitting C to make it editable, and Ctrl A for selecting all polygons. Remember to switch to polygons mode. Right-click and subdivide. Now we have a nice and smooth oval shape. Hitting T for scaling it. And I would like to put it inside the subdivision surface to make it even smoother on our render. Double-click to rename it. Let's call it nose. Let's copy the nose to create whiskers out of it. Select nose and hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Hit E to move our whisker. You can see that the gizmo is the arrow we are moving the geometry with, is not centered on the object. It happens because this is the gizmo of the subdivision surface modifier. Its gizmo is placed in the center of the scene on 0 coordinates, but we can fix it by clicking on these arrows on top and aligning it with the geometry on all 4 views. As soon as we are ready, we just uncheck these arrows on top and we will be moving the gizmo along with the subdivision surface modifier. We can place our whisker here and scale it up. We do remember that we need 2 whiskers. We are not gonna copy it, we will symmetrize it. A small nose correction, just pushing it a little bit backwards and coming back to the whisker. We select from the generator menu symmetry and put inside our whisker. We can adjust the position by hitting E and moving the whisker along the x-axis. Double-click to rename it. Let's call it Whiskers. We need one more cube for the brows. Let's bring it up and push it a little bit forward so we can see it. This time I don't have yellow handles. Yellow handles were for scaling it. We can adjust it in the attribute editor by tweaking X, Y and Z parameters. We don't have yellow handles because we are in polygon mode and not in the model mode. As soon as we switch to the model mode, we will have them back. Let's press C to make the cube editable and Ctrl A to select all polygons. Remember to switch to polygon mode. Right mouse click, subdivide. Let's rotate it. I want to move it closer to the face. We can click the middle mouse button to go to the perspective view and adjust it. You can see that my gizmo arrows are changing rotation. It's because I'm pressing W. W allows you to toggle between the world axis and the object axis. The world axis is XYZ, as you can see them in the top right corner, and object axis is how you already rotated and adjusted your object. We will put our brow into subdivision modifier to make it more smooth, and we also need two of them, so we're gonna symmetrize it. Now we are going to build an eye. We can see that in the sketch there is an eye and a big pupil. For the eye, we will take a sphere and make it a very dense mesh. We will increase the amount of polygons to make it more smooth without a subdivision modifier. We will scale it down and move it to the place. You can see that it's a bit too thick. To make it flatter, we make it editable by hitting C and T to scale it down along the Z-axis. And now we need to rotate it till it will pop up half out of the face mask. To create a pupil on top of it, we will just duplicate the eye by pressing Ctrl and drag it forward. We need to downscale our pupil and move it to the center. Let's rename them so we know what's what. I'm creating the symmetry and placing the objects inside. To create an ear, we will take a cone and we will move it on top of our head as a birthday hat. Let's rotate it so the upper side of the cone would be pointing in the same direction as the ear on the sketch. We can adjust the top and the bottom radius to fit our sketch. To make the cone more an ear shape, we can use caps. It allows us to smooth and round our object. I enable caps on top and bottom and drag the yellow handles to fit my shape. Let's make the cone editable by hitting C. It will allow us to scale down the object on the Z-axis and make it more look like an actual ear shape. We put our ear into subdivision surface modifier and rename it as a big ear. Why big ear? Well, next we will duplicate this ear, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, together with a subdivision modifier, and we can call it as a small ear. A small ear because we need to create the inner shape of the ear as well. We see that our gizmo is far away from the actual object. I will turn on these arrows on top and move our gizmo and align it according to our top and the right views. We are pushing our small ear forward and scaling it down by pressing T. We also scale it on the Z-axis. We will use the volume builder to create the final shape of the ear. Let's grab the volume builder and put first the big ear and then the small ear. Select the volume builder and next to the small ear select Subtract. It means that we will remove the volume of the small shape from the big shape. Let's change the voxel size to 1. It will create more accurate representation of the future mesh. And on top of the small ear layer, we can add a smooth layer. It's just smooth the new shape. To create the actual geometry, we need the volume measure. We put our volume builder inside the volume measure. Because volume measure is a heavy thing and it takes a lot of power from your computer to calculate, I will right-click and select Current State to Object. I double-click and rename it as an ear. I want to see only one ear because we currently have two, the volume mesh and the one we renamed the static object. We want to deactivate the volume mesh and have only the actual static geometry. As we need two ears, we are also going to use a symmetry tool. Let's create a tail. For the tail, we will take a cylinder. We will go to the Object section and select the orientation -Z. You can see that we can rotate it without doing the actual rotation. I will scale it down a little bit from the side and the radius so it would remind the shape of the tail. I need some more subdivisions, so I will increase the amount of height segments. I want the edges of cylinder to be rounded. That's why we go into Caps and activate Caps and fill it. To see this rounding, we need to tweak the yellow handle on the edges. I put the cylinder inside the subdivision surface. Let's grab the rectangular selection tool and switch to point mode. I'm just gonna select points, rotate and move them till it starts to remind the actual tail shape. It's time to color our character. There is a color manager in the top right corner, but before coloring we need to adjust some render settings. First of all, we choose the render engine. I choose Redshift. I would like to go with 2000 to 2000 pixels. And we go to the Save tab. This is where I usually save it as a PNG, and here we can specify the place where we would save it and the file name. I uncheck multipass, as we don't need it right now, and we will denoise our picture. This will help us to have much smoother result. Now we will create a standard Redshift material. Create Redshift Material Standard. We'll make it a little bit less shiny. Let's set roughness to 0.7, select a color, and we just drag and drop the material to our geometry. If we've done something wrong, we just hit Ctrl Z, undo. We just drag and drop our material to the places where we want to have it. I duplicate the material, press Ctrl and drag the material. You can duplicate anything with this shortcut. Ctrl drag to create some pink for the nose. I click and drag to duplicate the material, and I will create some white for the eyes. And as eyes geometry, the actual eye and the pupil are very close to each other, I will go and drag it over their names instead of putting them in the actual model. And we need some black for the pupil. Now we will create a background for rendering. I simply create a cube. I made the cube editable by hitting C, deleting polygons, everything besides bottom and back. I'm just scaling it up so it will cover the whole space behind our model. The edge between polygons looks a little sharp. To smooth it, I would select the edge, right-click and bevel. You can see that if I just bevel it without any subdivisions, it remains sharp. We need to add more subdivisions, and I can increase the bevel as much as I want. There is no render without light. If we don't create any light, it's going to be all black. To create a simple light, let's use dome light. We will need to add an HDRI. I will leave the link below where you can find all them for free, including the map I use. HDRI map is simply a 360-degree image that includes lighting information. I will uncheck the background as I want to see only light without the actual picture. To see the preview, go to Redshift, Render View. I will grab this tab and place it next to the viewport. Maybe you want to play around with the light, you can rotate it, and as soon as you're ready, you just click the render button. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to share your 3D model on social media with me that I can also go like it.